So have you decided to start investing in index funds, but you have no idea of what index funds you should be investing in? Well, I have you covered. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the 5 Vanguard index funds that you should be investing in 2020 to maximize your finances. Coming up. Hey, what's going on guys? Trey here. So on this channel, we like to focus on placing an emphasis on adding value to people's lives. And the way that I do so is by giving you the best tips and strategies focused on getting you out of debt, on your way to financial freedom, and additionally on your way to building wealth. So if this is something that you might be interested in, please subscribe to the channel as it helps the channel to grow. Also, smash that like button and additionally hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any other videos like this one. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, since I started investing in index funds, I cannot explain to you how much my financial portfolio has grown. And what sparked this was actually reading 2 books. The first book was The Little Book of Common Sense Investing by John Bogle. The second book was The Simple Path to Wealth. Now, I highly recommend these 2 books if you want to get more knowledgeable on investing in index funds. So to begin with, what exactly is an index fund? Well, in this video, I went over exactly what an index fund is in detail. So check that one out after you finish with this one. To revamp what exactly an index fund is, let's just say that you go into a candy store and you see a variety of different candy. But there's one in particular that really caught your eye or may even be your favorite. But that one piece of candy costs $10. But the owner tells you, hey, well, if that is a little bit too expensive for you, but you really like that candy, how about I offer you this sale? There's a separate box of candy here that has 20 different pieces of candy in it that costs $1. Which one would you choose? It's pretty simple, right? You're gonna pay the $1 not only to purchase the one piece of candy that you really like, but additionally the 19 other pieces of candy that are equally as good. I don't know if that's a good reference or not, but it made sense to me. But in a nutshell, an index fund gives you the opportunity to invest in shares of multiple companies. So instead of purchasing stocks in only one company, you can purchase stocks in multiple companies, all within one particular index. As I start giving you the list of the 5 index funds that you should be considering, I'm also going to include the ETF equivalent of these index funds. Index fund number 1, VTSAX, to whereas the ETF equivalent would be VTI. Now, this is my favorite index fund and ETF. And the reason being is it gives you exposure to the entire stock market, the total stock market. All right, so VTI actually gives you exposure to 3,611 different companies. And that's why I love them so much. So when we're talking about diversifying your portfolio, there's really no better way to diversify it than giving you exposure to over 3,600 different companies. Index fund number 1 would be VTSAX, with VTI being its equivalent. Index fund number 2, VFIAX, with ETF equivalent of VOO. Now, there's a common debate amongst investors that are, which one of these are the best? VTSAX or VFIAX? ETF equivalents VTI or VOO. Now, the main differences between the two are that VFIAX or VOO gives you exposure to the S&P 500, the 500 of the biggest or leading companies within the leading industries, to whereas VTI or VTSAX gives you exposure to over 3,600. The most important thing, again, that you want to remember is to be able to fully diversify your portfolio. I'm not saying to choose one or the other. Some people will choose one or the other, or they'll just do both. Some people will say that's an overkill. It all depends on what your investment strategy is and what is the best liking for your taste. Generally speaking, you can't go wrong with either one. So if you want to purchase both or one or the other, you can't go wrong. All right, so index fund number 3 that you should be purchasing, VTIAX, or its ETF equivalent, VXUS. Now this is the total international stock market index. And the reason that it's so good is that it doesn't only give you exposure to domestic indexes or domestic stock, it actually gives you exposure to international ones as well. Now, this also goes into that diversifying your portfolio strategy. Now, I personally love this index fund as well because its expense ratio is low, but its yield is relatively high. So this will be another one that you want to consider. So index fund number 4, VBTLX, or its ETF equivalent, BNDX. Now this is actually the total bond market. Now generally you won't want to be too concerned with bonds until you're about 40 years old or approaching that 40-year-old mark. At that point is when you want to start considering it. So if you're 40 years old, close to it, or past, you strongly want to consider investing in bonds. The general rule of thumb is the closer that you are to retirement, the more bonds you want to begin investing in. Now, the reason that a bond is so good for your portfolio is that it contributes an element of stability to your portfolio. Although there are different types of bonds, the one that I prefer that many others do as well would be VBTLX or its ETF equivalent, BND. So index fund number 5, VHDYX, or its ETF equivalent, VYM. And this is a high dividend yield. So what exactly is a high dividend yield? Look at it almost as the company that you're working for giving its employees a bonus because it's doing so well that year. Now, the key to making this work as you reap the benefits of that dividend yield is to ensure that you are putting that dividend yield back into an investment and not cashing out on it. Now, I know I said that I was only going to do 5 of the best index funds that you should be considering, but being that the first 2 were almost interchangeable, I'm gonna do one extra, and that is to give you exposure to the real estate market. Number 6 is VGSLX, or its ETF equivalent, VNQ. For those of you who want to get into real estate, this index fund will give you great exposure to the real estate market. I personally do invest in this one as well. Now, being that real estate is relatively known for a proven long-term investment, this is one also that you strongly want to consider when considering purchasing or investing in index funds. All right, so there you have it. 6 index funds that you should be considering purchasing and or investing in 2020. So in the comments below, let me know which index funds or ETFs you're currently investing in. If there's one that I didn't put on this list, please put it in the comments so that you can share it with everyone else. If you feel as though this video has been insightful in any way, please subscribe to this channel as it helps the channel to grow. Also, smash the like button and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any other videos just like this one. So in a nutshell, if you haven't already started investing in index funds, you need to start today. So until the next video, guys, I'll see you later.